Hello, this is Michael from Divorce Rehab, and today I'm doing a Hurricane Helena update, kind of just sharing my testimony and my experience of what I saw and what I did while I was out there. And I got to tell you, um, it was quite an experience. I actually ended up recording a couple of videos, probably about 2 or 3 videos, while I was out there that I've decided that I'm not going to put on the channel because I was in really rough shape. I was out there for 3 days, had one shower, didn't shave, and I got to tell you, uh, it was quite a challenge while I was just trying to take it all in. And I found that on these videos that I was kind of just rambling on, so I just decided that they were not going to be something I was going to put on my channel. Um, I can honestly say that while I was out there helping, it was a good experience for me. I have some growing up to do and a little bit of maturing to do. And I gotta say that while I was out there, I camped out in my SUV in the staging area that they have out there for uh, those that were there to do the volunteer work. They have a place where you can either park your camping trailer or uh, park your vehicle or even set up a tent if you want to while you're there doing the volunteer work. And so I took my SUV and I took all the chairs out and or seats, and I have a bed in the SUV. But I got to tell you, it got down to the low 20s um, while I was out there. So I got pretty cold actually. And I remember laying there in bed thinking to myself, wow, okay, so this is what a lot of these people are going through that have lost their houses. Some of them in even worse situations than that, where they not only lost their house, but they lost their car, maybe even a family member. It's pretty bad. So, I mean, even, with me being in my SUV, I could roll over and turn the key on and start my SUV up and get the heat going if I wanted to. Um, so, and I haven't, I didn't lose any family members through a natural disaster like that. So, for me, I had it pretty good. And after, being there and helping only for 3 days, I, got to go home to my nice little studio apartment where it's nice and warm. I got a hot shower, kitchen, and a sleeping area, and my living room, a TV, electricity, running water, all of the things that a lot of the people there in Swannanoa, North Carolina, don't have. So anyway, while I was out there, um, I had intended fully in becoming a part of the volunteer department team that was involved in cutting up logs in people's yards and piling up rubbish or clearing people's driveways and whatnot. And unfortunately, I got there about a month and a half too late. All the roads, all the driveways and such seemed to be pretty well cleared out. But people's yards, still had multiple trees down that needed to be cut up and sectioned off, for removal. And so when I got there on Friday, I got there very early, and apparently the tree removal crew had not showed up quite yet, and they were running a little late. And so I got there, and for about an hour and a half, I had to do something that I wasn't really used to doing. And that's the thing, is when you do volunteer work, sometimes you're going to be called to do things that you're not familiar with, that take you out of your comfort zone. And that's what ended up happening to me. When you go and do volunteer work in a situation like this, you go where you're asked to go, you go where you're called, and you try to be as helpful and as flexible as you can be. Well, I wasn't I'm not used to that. And by golly, I didn't come up there to hand out goods or to receive goods. I came out there to clear logs. And I had been setting up my SUV for a month and a half, putting a 9,000-pound winch on it, and setting up the suspension and the a brake control system for towing stuff if I needed to and whatnot. And I found out everything that I basically set up for and got ready for was completely useless. Didn't use any of it. And for about an hour and a half, while I was waiting for the log clearing crew to show up, I went ahead and volunteered to work out of one of the containers to hand out goods. Now, if you're going to do container work, this is what you're going to be challenged with. So you get another person that is going to work with you, and you have this container that's 40 feet long that's going to be filled with all kinds of stuff in it. This particular container that I had everything from little propane heaters to candles to batteries, flashlights, hand tools, just a vast assortment of things. And you only have about 15-20 minutes to go through your container and kind of get an idea of where everything is at before they start letting people in that you start having to give materials out to. But then to add to the complication of it all, as organized as whoever loaded that container could make it, there's no shelves. Everything is just kind of piled on top of each other. And you have like sorted out piles, piles of batteries in one section, piles of flashlights in another, piles of hand tools in one 5-gallon bucket, where you might have the hammers separated from the saws, kind of thing, but it was just kind of an organized mess that looked like Hurricane Helena itself actually settled inside that container. But then, while you're trying to after you get familiar kind of where everything's at, you're not only giving out stuff, you're also receiving donations. And when you receive a donation, you got to kind of remember where everything is, and that donation has to go into an organized location of a specific pile. So if you receive batteries, then batteries have to go with batteries, and hand tools have to go with hand tools, and vice versa. So I think you understand. But anyway, after doing that for about an hour and a half, my brain was scrambling because it's a high pace. There is no stand around time, no time for a break or anything, because when you're not receiving or handing out stuff, you're in the trailer focused on continuing to look through stuff on the trailer to be even more familiar with the layout of what's inside that trailer. So finally, when the log clearing crew came, I was pretty happy with that, and that was something I was more familiar with. So finally, my first day of going out and helping with tree removal, it was kind of hilarious because I came out there, and the first day I was the first guy besides 7 other people that had a battery powered Milwaukee chainsaw. And it was the closest to being a tree hugging liberal, environmentalist I want to even come to around all of these rednecks, that have their big honking chainsaws, and most of the chainsaws were donated, but still, I was the only one out there with a battery powered chainsaw. Well, what's funny about it is me with my battery powered chainsaw, I brought 3 batteries with me. So I had plenty of battery for the most part, but my chainsaw ended up being the only chainsaw out there that didn't have massive problems. Everything from not being tuned up, because none of these donated saws were tuned up, and nobody there that was operating the chainsaws really knew how to tune these chainsaws up. So most of them ran like crap, unless it was a person that brought their own chainsaw. And even some of the people that brought their own chainsaws didn't even know how to make their chainsaws run right. And none of them knew how to sharpen their own chainsaws, except for the guy that actually lived there. And me, I was, smart enough to bring a brand new chain and get my other chain sharpened. But I think the entire time that I was there, my chain popped off the chainsaw one time, and I just, put it back on and got back to work. But people were running out of gas and running out of, having problems, running out of bar oil, and chains popping off. They didn't know how to tighten, the chain, or make them tight enough, just all kinds of problems. And I got this battery powered chainsaw. So I just thought it was kind of funny. And then the next day, I get out there to go to work, helping out clearing. This was on a Saturday. Now, for those of you that don't know, I'm a Messianic Jew. I don't work on Saturday because that's a whole nother video, but I don't work on Saturday. And it was kind of funny because I get out there, I get started, start working, and about an hour or so into it, all of a sudden, my battery-powered chainsaw no longer works. Now, 2 out of 3 of the batteries are dead, but I've still got one brand newly charged battery, and it's ready to go. And for those of you that want to judge me or condemn me and say, well, why were you working on Saturday? Well, I'm not going to say that my understanding of do's and don'ts as far as working on Saturday is fully clear, even in my own understanding. But I kind of saw working on Saturday out there on a relief effort as kind of like an ox in the pit type situation, or, if you have a donkey or a horse in the stall, you lead the horse out to get a drink, and you feed it, and for all intents and purposes, that's work, but it's a need. And so when I was out there helping this guy, I felt that moving logs off of his land was a need. Well, hindsight's 2020. Maybe if I'd have stayed where I was to begin with that Saturday morning and doling out more important things like batteries and flashlights and heaters and stuff like that, that would have been more of an important need. But honestly, clearing out somebody's yard, that's not a absolute necessity. So anyway, I'm out there and I'm working, and all of a sudden my battery powered chainsaw stops working. Well, no matter what I did, whether I smacked it, whether I wetted the contacts, cleaned the contacts on the saw or the battery, could not get that saw to work for nothing. And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. What is going on? There was no logical reason I could figure for the saw not working. Well, so I put the saw away. There's plenty of other people running saws, so I just went ahead and continued doing cleanup. Well, anyway, the funny thing behind the saw story is I get home and I'm cleaning out my SUV, putting stuff away, and I pull the saw out and I hit the trigger, and sure enough, it works. And it still works, and it works just fine. So I guess my chainsaw is a Sabbath keeping saw. That's the only thing I can think. But anyway, yeah, I was pretty upset about that because I spent a lot of money on that saw. But anyway, so after working there for a couple of days and getting my feet wet, one of the things that I learned is that, when you go to somebody's property after they've, their house is destroyed, their yard, their livelihood, everything is destroyed, people can have a tendency to be a little tense, a little pushy, just little things set them off. And so even though working in a container was highly stressful in the sense of the responsibility of locating stuff and putting stuff away and such, I didn't get away with not having to deal with stressful issues because I got out there and I started helping this man clear his yard, and the next thing I know, he's getting pushy and wants things done a specific way, and it was just challenging. It was difficult, and I'm like, why is this guy getting such an attitude? We're here to help him, and he's getting such an attitude, and he's so pushy. And so anyway, expect to run into issues when you're out there trying to help people on their own property. They may not be 100% welcoming and or friendly or kind, and just understand them where they're at and try and help them any way you can. And if you decide to do the well, here comes a train. Let this train pass for a little bit. All right. Now that the train is kind of gone. But anyway, be prepared to deal with your situation and circumstances that you're dealing with in love, and just continue to treat people as decent as you can. But anyway, that was my experience there in Swannanoa, South Carolina, and they will feed you. They'll take care of the volunteers. But one of the things I found out is that basically when I was there helping, it was the same thing for breakfast every morning, and it was the same thing for dinner every afternoon, or for lunch, if you even got to eat lunch. I didn't ever get to eat lunch. I always just ate breakfast, and then when we got back, which was usually after 5 o'clock, I would get to eat whatever they had there for supper. But anyway, if you're one of those kind of people that has to have something different to eat for every meal, then take a little extra money, maybe take some food with you, then you'll be fine. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and close with this video, and I just encourage anybody that wants to go up there and help distribute goods, whether it be batteries, coats, or hand tools, or propane, or stoves, or whatever, or tents. I encourage you to go up there. You're going to run into all kinds of different kinds of people and everything, and it's good fellowship. I actually had a lot more fun doing that, and I felt more useful doing that than I do going to church and basically warming a pew, especially churches that my experience in trying to find help from churches in the local area where I live, nobody was doing anything. Nobody seemed concerned. I got pretty irritated and upset with that whole situation, and so that's why that's part of the reason why I loaded up my vehicle and went up there myself. And there's another channel creator that I listen to or watch on YouTube. His name is Bachelor. His name, he calls himself the Joker, but I think his show is something Bachelor, and he basically lives up in Tennessee, I guess, and close to a lot of where the disaster areas were. And he did a video of himself loading his SUV up with water and donating water and whatnot to people right after the disaster. So anyway, that was part of the reason why I went up there, seeing what he was talking about, and I respect the guy. But anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close the video out, and I can tell you, go up there, do what you can to help, volunteer. If you have donations, that's a good place to start. And if you can't do any of those things for lack of money, resources, whatever, just keep those people in prayer up there. They need all the prayers and all the help that they can get. And I guess I'll see you guys later. God bless you.